Hi, my name is Deborah and this is the Edit by DH. Welcome to another video. Today's video is all about Chanel if you hadn't noticed already. And if this is the first time on my channel, I just wanted to say welcome. I generally tend to focus heavily on beauty reviews or beauty in general. And although I've predominantly, I guess, focus on luxury beauty brands, I do occasionally also review high street prices or high street drugstore brands also. I will be introducing the new Chanel lipstick. It's a luxury limited edition one. I will be doing swatches, a try on, although I already have it on. Just as a spoiler alert, I already have it on, but I'll be giving you more information about it in just a second. I will also show you swatches and a try on the screen. As always, share my honest thoughts about it and be doing a small comparison to the Dior lipstick, which is a Rouge Premiere. Now, it won't be a full comparison where I'm also showing you the Dior lipstick alongside the Chanel type of full comparison. I will be talking about the slight differences a bit later on, but to be honest, if you really want to know about the Dior video, please go check it out separately. The link will be down below. For now, this video is just going to primarily focus on the Chanel lipstick. Also, just to put out there, this is not a first impression video. If it's a first impression video, you guys get to see my literal first impression of the product. And, you know, at that point, I haven't had time to really check it out. I haven't done swatches. I haven't done a try on. It literally is my first impression. But the alternative is that I review the lipstick first by myself. I try it on, I do swatches. You might not see a brand new fresh lipstick or beauty product because I've already dipped my grubby fingers into it. But you have more information, and it may mean that the upload is a lot later than the launch. So by that I mean, if you want a first impression, you're going to get it around the same time that a lot of people upload it, and it's quicker to watch. You see it, you've got it, okay. Alternatively, you've maybe seen all the other uploads and first impressions, and then my video goes up a bit later, but there's a lot more information to it, but it's not a first impression video. So I would love to know what you guys prefer. Please comment down below. Now, before I get into the information, I thought I would just quickly show you the lipstick first before I go more into it. So just to say, obviously this is a first impression video, so I've already opened it. It came in this sort of presentation box. You open it up and it revealed two Chanel boxes, one for the cover and one for the actual lipstick itself. The lipstick had a cover which then slid off to reveal this box. And when you open it, it's like a mini presentation box which reveals the beautiful lipstick in its full glory. And it already has a refill in there, and this is the color that I'm wearing, which again I'll go into in just a moment, but I just wanted to show you what it looks like. So this is what the lipstick looks like. So this lipstick costs a whopping £140, which includes the refill. Obviously the refills are available to purchase separately, and you can top that up or change the colors as and when you desire. But the refill itself, so the lipstick weight is 3.3 grams, so that's how much product you get. But the lipstick with the case with the refill costs £140. I believe the refill itself costs £65, but I will clarify that again a bit later on. So 140, 3.3 grams. So the best place to get the information from is obviously the official Chanel website. And it's very interesting because it gives you a lot of information about this lipstick, what inspired it, etc. So that was really a joy to go through and read and find out about. So it says it's an object of creation. 31 Le Rouge comes in a faceted square case inspired by the mirrors that line the legendary Art Deco staircase at 31 Rue Cambon. Combining glass and metal, the light dances on its surface. Its clear glass allows the metallic gleam of the case and shade of the lipstick to shine through beneath the engraved Chanel monogram. A true technical feat that could only be accomplished by drawing on Chanel expertise in high perfumery. So as they say, you can see the colour peeps through the top of the lid with the CC logo. They've got 12 singular shades of 31 Le Rouge, which are vibrant reflections of Rue Cambon's creative spirit. 12 shades inspired by Gabrielle Chanel's creations, atelier and iconic apartment. 12 colours that reveal and embellish, made for singularity rather than subtlety. And 12 bold statements day after day. So like I said, it is a refill option, and yes, you can be super bougie and get 12 different lipsticks or 12 different cases. My gosh, the cost will certainly add up. Alternatively, you can just get one of the case and lipstick included. I don't think you can buy the case separately, and then you just swap and refill the lipstick and change it up depending on what mood you're in. So 12 intense ultra-luminous long-lasting shades, 12 unique hues ranging from soft beige to deep garnet, 12 lip colours with a fine silky glide-on texture and a delicate scent for an unparalleled sensory experience. So yes, by the delicate scent, if you're observant, it does have perfume in it, but it is very low down in the ingredients list. As always, I recommend, if you have any sensitivities, I would always recommend reading the ingredients list for yourself. So let me go through the 12 shades and what inspired it. Now, I really love that because sometimes some brands will just name a lipstick shade and then you're like, okay, ... but you don't really know what inspired it. And some names that brands come up with are so unimaginative, so it is actually really nice to read the names and know what the meaning is behind it and what inspired it. Also, because Chanel is French and I am not a French speaker, I try to look up the meaning, so please do correct me if I'm wrong. If any of you are French speakers, especially if you are Chanel experts, please let me know in the comment section down below. But I have tried my best to do some research, not only into the pronunciations, into the individual meanings, etc., etc. So I hope you find it as interesting as I did when doing the research. So Rouge Beige is the first colour, and it is described as a pearly beige inspired by Chanel evening gowns, a daytime colour that lights up the night. The second colour is Rouge Croisière, an orange pink, an homage to the mid-season collections inspired for cruise shows. If I'm correct, I mean, it makes sense because it's inspired by the cruise shows, but croisière actually means cruise. Then you have Rouge Romain, an intense rosewood, the colour of the leather-bound books in the library at 31 Rue Chambon in Paris. So Romain, if I researched it correctly, means novel, as in the book. So yeah, it's Rouge Romain, which is an intense rosewood, obviously inspired by the library. Then you've got Rouge Flou, which I think means vague. If there are any French speakers watching this video, please do comment down below. Rouge Flou, which is a luminous red that evokes the delicate flowing chiffon, voile and silk fabrics used in Rue Cambon designs. Then you have Rouge Première, a radiant vermilion red, a nod to the first thing seamstresses did each day, adding a touch of colour to their lips to welcome Gabrielle Chanel. So that's really interesting, the fact that the seamstresses either did or had to wear, or maybe it was like a thing where they had to wear the red lipstick. So première means first, so it's the first thing they did each morning before greeting Gabrielle Chanel, and it kind of reminds me of Nars. When I worked in the really beautiful Chelsea boutique, we always had to put on a red lipstick, so that's where my love of red lipstick grew. Then we have Rouge Imaginaire, which is a dazzling fuchsia which represents the India-inspired vision that gives collections a bold touch. Imaginaire is supposed to mean imaginary, but maybe it also means like a fantasy or an inspiration. So again, French speakers, help me out, please. Then Rouge Privé. Privé is supposed to mean private. A red with a hint of brown and mystery like that which surrounds Chanel's creations. Then Rouge Fétiche, which, as you may have guessed, means fetish, is a crisp crimson like the ribbons Mademoiselle wore during shows for good luck. Then the next one is Rouge Ďeia, is a brilliant raspberry red like that out of the braided trim on Chanel jackets, which lends structure to a look. So it's interesting that it's inspired by braided trims on the jackets, because I believe Ďeia in French means tailor in English. So Rouge Byzantin I believe that's how you say in French, a burnished red inspired by the house's emblematic Baroque style jewelry. Obviously, needless to say, Byzantin is, I think in English we say a Byzantine, and I think the Americans say Byzantine. Anyway, so that's what it's inspired by. Then Rouge Coromandel, a deep reddish brown inspired by the Chinese screens that line the apartment at 31 Rue Cambon in Paris. So I had to look this up. Coromandel is actually a hard brownish wood which comes from a tropical Asian tree. So that's really interesting to know. And last but not least is Rouge 2.55 or 2.55, a deep garnet red that recalls the lining of iconic Chanel handbags. So that makes absolute sense. If you're lucky enough to have a Chanel handbag, it is inspired by the lining of the bag. 31 Le Rouge is a true technical feat that brings an aesthetic vision to life. It's the first lipstick to be presented in a faceted square glass case. It was inspired by the mirrors that line the staircase in Gabrielle Chanel's Rue Cambon apartment. Like a diamond, the gleam of the metal reflects off the glass sides, which are set with a golden-hued metal ring. Chanel employed all of its expertise in high perfumery to overcome the challenges associated with creating a glass lipstick case that is extraordinarily durable for a product of its kind, a process that took 4 years to complete. Forever ahead of its time, the house has been developing innovative, ultra-sensorial skincare products since the very beginning, using its expertise to select and transform key ingredients. 31 Le Rouge is both a lipstick and a firming, smoothing, moisturizing lip care product. Its formula was carefully developed by the house's laboratory and is enriched with gardenia oil from 𝕗𝕠𝕣𝕗𝕒, a Chanel exclusive ingredient, as well as maracuja oil. So again, I had to look up these two ingredients because I wasn't familiar with it. So maracuja, many of you may or may not know, it's a passion fruit oil. It's passion fruit in Portuguese, I believe maracuja in Spanish. And then 𝕗𝕠𝕣𝕗𝕒 is a place in the south of France. They actually are a open air laboratory that have had a relationship with Chanel since 1998, I believe. And they are known for having a worldwide camellia flower collection. And this oil is produced from their camellia flower. So apparently it's a Chanel exclusive ingredient. And from what I understand, this oil is from I think a Japanese camellia that happens to be very resilient. I believe camellia flowers are resilient anyway, but this particular flower is so resilient that it even lasts and survives during the winter months. And so when the people working in the laboratory in 𝕗𝕠𝕗𝕗 noticed this, they sampled this particular ingredient from it because of its moisturizing powers, and that's what they've included as an ingredient in the lipstick. And that's so interesting because it's supposed to be a hydrating lipstick. So it says after 1 month of use, lips appear and feel more moisturized, appear smoother, look firmer, and appear more defined. 31 Le Rouge can be cherished and passed down like a precious jewel. It is made of glass and aluminium as an homage to the flacons of high perfumery. Destined to stand the test of time, this lipstick can be reinvented with new shades again and again as desired, thanks to an innovative refill that fits into place with a single click. So like I said, you can shop the refills, and yeah, as I guessed earlier, it is £65 for 3.3 grams of product. So it says, inspired by the mirrors that line the legendary Art Deco staircase in Gabrielle Chanel's Rue Cambon apartment, the faceted square case of 31 Le Rouge is the most irresistible packaging in the history of Chanel lipstick. Chanel lovers, let me know if that's true down below. A 2-digit combination unlocks a fusion of sophistication and functionality, of creative and technical mastery, of absolute uniqueness and fluidity of design, of an intimate and aesthetic experience, all contained within a clear glass case that showcases the metallic gleam of a refillable lipstick. Its 12 shades ranging from garnet to fuchsia and brown to crimson are vibrant reflections of Gabrielle Chanel's memories. The mastery demonstrated by the atelier, creativity and vitality integral to Rue Cambon. These colors were created to reveal, to embellish, to state the obvious, and were made for individuality rather than subtlety. The formula, which has been carefully developed by the Chanel laboratories, offers a long-lasting look and an entirely new sensory experience. More than just a chance to experience 31 Le Rouge a rendezvous, and the fact that it takes place only at the most emblematic boutiques is no coincidence. Formulated with 75% naturally derived ingredients, yet no compromise on efficacy, 31 Le Rouge is an innovation in makeup. Skincare benefits, which contribute to better looking lips with each passing day, complement its glide-on texture and intense long-wearing colour. Finely micronized pigments combined with sheer mother of pearl reveal intense, purely radiant colour. Its formula is enriched with gardenia oil from ℕ𝕠𝕟𝕥, a Chanel exclusive ingredient, and maracuja oil to leave lips smoother and better defined. Apparently, refills can be fully resealed, allowing you to switch between the 12 available satin shades as often as you like, and refills cannot be used without a case and are compatible exclusively with 31 Le Rouge, obviously. So that's all the information on the lipstick, and for some of you, maybe it's a long intro. For me, I personally found it really interesting, so I wanted to relay the same information back to you. I think especially when you're spending this amount of bonkers money, it is always good to know what is the inspiration, why it's so special, why it has the price tag, right? So my thoughts, and finally a small comparison with Dior. So I personally think it's beautiful. I think when I first saw it, and this is why I think first impressions can be good or bad, when I first saw it, I was a bit like, meh. That was my first honest impression. But I think the longer I have it and the more I look at it, I feel like I appreciate it more, especially knowing the inspiration, because you almost feel like you have a piece of history in your hand without having history in your hand. Because obviously this is not directly from 31 Le Rouge. It's not made from ingredients from her actual staircase or the glass from her staircase. However, you know exactly what inspired it. So as soon as you see this, it's a visual memory as to what it was inspired by. I think it's also very weighty, which with anything adds some sort of luxury feel to it. There's something to it, rather than some products which can be super lightweight and cheap feeling, which maybe for you is a benefit because then it doesn't weigh down your handbag. But for me, luxury means weighty. So there is definitely a weight to this. Obviously, it has the CC logo at the top, and I think it is a clever feature to be able to see through. So say like if you are that billionaire that can afford all 12 lipstick and the cases, then if you have this on display side by side, you don't even need to take the cap off to know what's the color underneath. You will get a general gist of what's underneath. I also like the fact that they've stated that the colors were designed not for subtlety purposes, but to like stand out, to be an individual, which I absolutely love. And I love the inspirations behind it, because again, it's so visual. As soon as you read the description, although short and sweet, you can immediately almost be transported to that place or that time that they're describing, so that you understand exactly the vision behind it. Obviously, I like the fact that it's refillable, but these days I believe most brands are trying to make their lipsticks refillable, and I believe when you have a £140 lipstick, you better make it refillable. That's all I'm going to say. I've had this lipstick on, so now let me tell you the colour. Let me know down below if you guessed it already. It is the shade number 2, Rouge Croisière. So this is the one that is inspired by the cruise shows, hence why it's called Rouge Cruise in essence. This colour, I've worn it very subtly, and I believe that when I wear it subtly, it's a super beautiful day wear lipstick. It's so easy to wear, and I believe it would suit a vast variety of skin tones. So this is number 2, like I said. In terms of longevity, I think this is always a sticking point for a lot of people. I think when you have a lipstick that claims it's hydrating, that claims it's a satin finish or anything like that, you always have to have in mind that with certain words, there'll be obvious end results. So like I said, satin, moisturizing, gloss, anything like that, you just have to realize that longevity is not going to be the end result. If you want a long wearing lipstick, you have to go more for the matte finishes. So I know there are people who don't like matte finishes because they say it's not as hydrating, but you almost have to choose which one you prefer, if that makes sense. So I've been wearing this since, I would say, maybe 11 a.m. and it is now 3 p.m. and I've had to top it up. I have eaten lunch, obviously, and I've been drinking liquids. I don't think it was the liquids that were the issue, it's the lunch. And obviously when you dab your mouth after eating, especially me, I'm a serial dabber, so it did come off quite easily. You know, some lip products will just be absorbed by your lips. It's not like that. What I like about it is I'm not normally a glossier finish type of lipstick fan, but I really like this one because it's a subtle satin finish. It's not like a proper sheen to it, as you can see. And I like the fact that it's almost like an in-between. So it's not too slippery and it's not too matte, if you know what I mean. So you've got the best of both worlds in a way. It's interesting that it's got the gardenia oil ingredient in it, which I also believe is a common ingredient that gets put into Chanel skincare. They allege that after a month your lips will improve with hydration, like the more you wear this. So it's almost like protecting your lips whilst wearing a lip color, which is always a plus plus. So let's see. I will also apply it a little bit more strongly before I do a mini Dior comparison. So this is a subtle stain, I guess you could call it. I just applied a little bit and then like spread it out with my finger and a brush. So as you can see, I didn't use a lip brush and it just applies beautifully. So this is the full impact if you want the full va-va-voom, as I say. So this is such a difficult color to describe. Maybe you guys are like, no, it's not. But for me, I don't even know how to describe this color. On the website, it describes Rouge Croisière as an orangish pink. For me, I don't know. Would I describe it as an orangish pink? I'm not sure. Also, with the light. So now I'm facing very natural light. I'm literally facing the window. It's natural light and it's not too sunny, because obviously when it's super sunny as well, that can also distort like how it looks. But I will show you separate clips of me wearing it where it's like fully sunny and you'll see it looks like way more peachy or corally. I don't know. You guys let me know how you best would describe this color down below in the comment section. I feel personally like this is very Marmite. People are inevitably going to compare it to Dior, hence why I am comparing it to Dior in just a bit. And secondly, again, this is my personal opinion, I think that if they had teamed up with a famous designer, and perhaps they have, but they haven't mentioned it, or there was more of a story behind the person who actually made it, or the actual particular material was more precious rather than just glass. I know glass can be precious because if you think about the Italian Murano glass, but again, that's because of like who makes it and how it's made and the history behind it. So it's one of those things where I feel like this design will end up being like Marmite. People either love it or hate it. I personally think this would make a very pretty chandelier. Imagine having like loads of these as chandeliers. That would be insane. So Chanel, if you want to take my idea for one of your fancy boutiques, then give me a call. Comparison to Dior. Now, I think the most obvious comparison is going to be cost and design. Cost-wise, Dior is obviously way more expensive. Dior's Rouge Premiere is 500 whopping pounds. And in fact, because they sell the case separately and the refill separately. So if you want the refill with the case, why wouldn't you? It is 555 pounds. So the refill itself costs 55 pounds and the case is 500 pounds. So I know instantly that it's out of so many people's budget. Like seriously, 140 pounds for a lipstick is ridiculous and expensive and bonkers on its own, let alone 555 pounds. But I have to say that it's such a beautiful design, such a beautiful case. If you want to know the details behind it and what inspired it and what it looks like and etc, please do go watch my Dior video, as I said, which is linked down below. Like I said, with the design, the Dior one is just so precious. I'm just such a fan of that ℕ𝕠𝕟𝕢 design. They have teamed up and collaborated with the famous French porcelain house, and so it's different. It's so different. It's hard to compare, even though both brands are top-end luxury. They're both limited edition collections, and they're inevitably going to be compared because they launched around the same time. What was that about? So the refills as well, although the case is way cheaper for Chanel, the refill itself is more expensive. So this refill is £65, and the Dior one is £55. So the Dior one is £10 cheaper. Also, with regards to the design, the ceramic cover, or case should I say, is very paper thin with the Dior one. So honestly, the few times that I've taken it out, I take it out on carpeted floors. I'm sorry. I honestly feel, and I don't want to risk it, and I don't want to test it for sure, that if I drop the Dior one, I believe it would either smash or like crack, like any ceramic would, especially if it's a thin ceramic or thin porcelain. Whereas I feel like, because you know how the Chanel said this is quite a durable case considering it's made of glass? I believe that. I feel like, and again, I don't want to test it, but I feel like if I drop this on a hard floor, it wouldn't necessarily break, at least not the first time. Whereas I feel like the Dior one's a lot more delicate. So in terms of colours, there are 12 refillable shades for both brands. Like I said, Chanel £65, Dior £55. And this I feel like the finish is quite similar. Obviously, they're going to have different ingredients. And for the Dior one, I went for the lighter shade. For the Chanel one, I went for the second lighter shade. Just simply because the first shade, I mean, I could be wrong if I tried it in person. On the website, it looked like it might be a bit too pale for me, but maybe it's just a matter of not very accurate color image on the website. In terms of first impressions and presentation, I obviously showed you the Dior presentation box and how it came when I first received it. And I think had I not had the Dior experience, I would have been completely satisfied with the Chanel one. I would have been like, ooh, ah. But because I had experience of the Dior one, which in itself, like the opening, I was just so blown away by it that I felt that was a comparison. Also, I feel like I might keep this, but I'm not necessarily sad about not keeping it, if that makes sense. I'm quite happy to throw this packaging in recycling. Whereas with Dior, I literally want to keep the outside box, the regular Dior presentation box that they give, but also this specific presentation box, the limited edition one that came with the case. Like, I want to keep that. I would never want to throw that away. So everything about it was just more special. The only difference where I think Chanel was better in terms of design is the cover, which I haven't covered yet. So the cover, the lipstick cover for Chanel, is this sort of like, I don't even know what you would call it, felt material. And it's black. It's got that kind of signature Chanel quilted fabric with a golden popper hardware with the Chanel CC logo. And it just fits the lipstick so perfectly and clicks into place. I would definitely keep this. It would also keep the case protected from any scratches or damages. So this is a worthwhile cover with the case. However, for the Dior one, if you watch my Dior video, that protective cover, especially for the mirror, was terrible. It felt so cheap and it didn't protect the mirror at all. So that, for me, it just felt like they thought, whatever, just something to pretend that we've, come up with a cover. But really, I think they should have put more thought into the cover, especially because the Dior one is so precious. And if anything, it's way more precious and you would want to protect it even more. So I think they should have thought more about that than they did. Also, just to say, the Dior one came with other things. So it wasn't just a lipstick, it was a makeup brush and also a mirror that came with it. So it was all part of that limited edition collection, and I think that was really stunning. I feel like Chanel could have really done the same. They could have maximized on that. I think if they had a mirror with this same cover, I think that would have been really, really stunning, honestly, with that Art Deco design. Chanel, for the 31 Le Rouge, they only have the lipstick. With Dior, they have 3 items as part of the Rouge Premier collection. Last but not least, I feel like if we're talking about heirlooms, if we're talking about treasures, yes, I'm sure your child will eventually appreciate this, or, you know, your friend or whoever you want to pass it down to will appreciate receiving a very luxurious lipstick that has been inspired by an iconic address from the brand's history. But in terms of heirloom, I feel like trying to resell this and trying to resell the Dior will be 2 different things. I think the Dior lipstick will have more selling value and will have more value in general and heirloom worthy status than the Dior one. But again, that's just my opinion. If there's anything that I've missed out in terms of a comparison, then please let me know. I hope you found this video useful. I didn't want to make it too much longer by doing a full comparison, because on one hand, I feel like it is respectful to do 2 focus videos rather than 1 full comparison video. And in a way, it almost feels a little bit unfair to compare the Chanel one to the Dior one, because they are so different. But like I said, they launched around the same time, and actually one of you guys gave me inspiration, because when you watched the Dior video, you commented down below saying and mentioning this lipstick, and initially I was like, I'm not getting it. And then the following week I had it in my basket. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this useful. If you really like this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please do subscribe for similar content like this. This is what it looks like in bright sunlight, as you can see, and with full like pigment power. And this is it worn down more as like a subtle stain, which, although the other color is beautiful, I think I prefer it as a stain. So let me know what you guys prefer, but I just wanted to show you the colors. But I hope you found this useful. Thank you so much for watching, and see you on the next video. Take care.